Step 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Not God. We can almost hear a newcomer say, "I thought this was a self-help program. What do you mean I can't stay sober, joyous, and free without God?" Or as the 12 and 12 says, "Look what you people have done to us. Having reduced us to a state of absolute helplessness, you now declare that none but a higher power can remove our obsession. Some of us won't believe in God, others can't, and still others who do believe that God exists have no faith whatever He will perform this miracle. Yes, you've got us over the barrel, all right, but where do we go from here?" The first 3 words of Step 2 give us the key to this dilemma. We came to believe. We began by simply coming to meetings. Then somewhere along the line we awoke to the reality of our situation, came out of emotional and spiritual shock, and came to the reality of a power at work in the lives of others who were sober. Then we came to believe. For many of us, this translated into the startling, though welcome, conclusion that we were not God. When we cast ourselves on the mercy of the group, we are in effect resorting to a power greater than ourselves. After all, we admit many of these people are staying sexually sober, and some had it worse than we. More than this, we feel a strength and presence in fellowship. The spirit of the meeting often seems to be greater than the sum of its members. This gives us hope and draws us into the light. Soon we find ourselves making our own personal connection. Here's how one person put it. "At first, all I believed in was my sickness and lack of faith. Soon, however, I was telling myself, I hope it's all true. Then I began acting as if it were, and faith in the program itself was established. As I became more honest and open to the truth in others, I came to believe that others had faith. Finally, genuine faith in a higher power came ever so slowly as a God of my very own and a faith that worked for me." Surrendering to the truth about ourselves. The second half of Step 2, could restore us to sanity, was not hard for many of us to acknowledge. Our first step had revealed at least some of our irrational thinking and behavior, and we slowly began to realize that such loss of control was a form of insanity. But just as an unsound mind was the inevitable byproduct of our attitudes and wrongs, its healing would be the byproduct of working the steps. There's great promise here. Restoration to sanity becomes a very real hope, because we see it happening around us. Sanity is contagious. Sometimes the program comes harder to those who are believers than to those who never had any faith at all or who had lost it. This often holds true for those who have been in other 12-step programs before coming to SA. One might think that previous religious devotion or success in quitting another addiction would make it easier for one to gain sexual sobriety, but this is not necessarily the case. Often, such members find they must start from square one, as though they had no faith or had never heard of the program. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link, the saying goes, and lack of surrender in any of our known defective areas blocks the grace of God and makes it impossible to forge any chain of enduring spiritual and emotional strength. Success in quitting other addictions seduced many of us into believing we were really working the program and had everything together. The unmanageability of our lives proved otherwise. Many of us merely switched addictions. Knowledge and pride were our chief obstacles here. Knowing the truth or knowing the program, often being self-styled authorities and even sponsoring others, only kept us from changing our attitudes and righting our wrongs. Knowledge never gave us power. We had left lust, sex, and relationships out of the exposure, surrender, and recovery process, which simply meant we could not fully recover. No wonder we were still uncomfortable. Half measures availed us nothing. It seems harder for some who have been sober for years from other addictions to admit they are in denial in the sexaholic area than it is for newcomers who have never even heard of the steps. This is simply one of the realities of our experience. We discovered the hard way that we had to leave our knowledge and pride outside the door when we entered. We could only join with our fellow members and be a part of when we identified on the basis of our current addiction, powerlessness, and distress. We identify with each other at the point of our weaknesses. Our wrongfulness and our wrongs are what bring us together and to God. Many of us have already been through the alcohol, drug, pill, and overeating scenes. We've become aware of our compulsive approach to almost everything in our lives. There's no place left to go except to face the truth about ourselves, stop resorting to other addictions and forms of lust we think we can get away with, and surrender to our God.